Over the last 4 years, Liv Morgan has transformed from an underdog with potential into one of WWE's defining female superstars of her generation. Her journey has not been instant, nor has it been easy. When she first signed with WWE more than a decade ago, she wasn't positioned as a future singles megastar. Instead, she found her footing as part of the Riott Squad, alongside Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan. At the time, the group carved out a niche as rebellious disruptors, but Morgan herself was rarely presented as the focal point. For years, she floated between storylines, often showcasing flashes of charisma and resilience without receiving a sustained singles push. Many fans saw the potential. They noticed her connection with the audience, her willingness to absorb punishment, and her natural ability to make people care. But in a division stacked with established names, breaking through required more than effort. It required the right moment. That moment arrived in 2022. During that year's Money in the Bank ladder match, Morgan seized an opportunity that would redefine her career. Winning the briefcase was more than a storyline victory. It symbolized trust from the company and validation of her persistence. Later that same night, she cashed in the contract on Ronda Rousey, capturing her first championship. The immediacy of the cash-in amplified the drama, and the emotional reaction that followed was genuine. For Morgan, it represented her first true taste of success at the highest level. Reflecting on that breakthrough during an appearance on Raw Talk with Bradley Martin, Morgan described the 2022 Money in the Bank victory as her first real accolade. She explained how winning the briefcase and successfully cashing in marked a turning point. It wasn't just about holding gold. It was about finally feeling recognized after years of grinding behind the scenes. That championship win validated her belief that patience and hard work could pay off, even in an environment as competitive as WWE. While that moment remains foundational, Morgan's story did not plateau there. Instead, it evolved. She continued refining her in-ring skills, her character work, and her presence on the microphone. Over time, she became more layered, less the wide-eyed hopeful, and more the confident competitor who understood her worth. The evolution reached another defining chapter at SummerSlam 2024. At SummerSlam 2024, Morgan faced Rhea Ripley in a high-stakes clash for the Women's World Championship. The rivalry carried emotional weight, intensified further by the involvement of Dominic Mysterio. In a shocking twist, Dominic turned on Ripley and aligned himself with Morgan, reshaping multiple character trajectories in one night. Ripley transitioned from heel to babyface, while Morgan and Dominic emerged as one of WWE's most talked-about power couples. For Morgan, defeating Ripley on that stage was monumental. Ripley had been presented as dominant and nearly untouchable. Overcoming her solidified Morgan's status as more than a feel-good champion. It proved she could stand toe-to-toe with the division's most physically imposing competitor and walk away victorious. The emotional aftermath of that match added another layer to her legacy. It wasn't simply a title defense. It was a defining narrative moment that shifted the landscape of the women's division. Morgan has often spoken about how surreal these achievements feel, especially because many of them arrived later in her career. When she first signed with WWE, there were no guarantees. She didn't know if she would ever hold a championship, headline a premium live event, or become a focal point of major storylines. The uncertainty is part of what makes her accomplishments resonate so deeply with her. She understands how fragile opportunity can be in professional wrestling. Her most recent milestone may be the biggest yet. At the Royal Rumble event in Riyadh, Morgan achieved something she had never done before. She won the Women's Royal Rumble match. The Royal Rumble is one of WWE's most prestigious annual events, and winning it secures a championship opportunity at WrestleMania. For Morgan, standing tall after outlasting the entire field symbolized not only endurance, but supremacy. It was confirmation that she now belongs among the elite. Adding to the historic significance, Morgan also became the first-ever crown jewel winner in Saudi Arabia, further expanding her global footprint. Competing and succeeding on international stages underscores WWE's confidence in her as a representative of the brand. These are the types of accomplishments that shape legacies. During her Raw Talk appearance, Morgan expressed immense pride in these milestones. She acknowledged that many of them came at a time when she wasn't sure what her ceiling would be. The later career surge has made the victories sweeter. They serve as reminders that growth does not always follow a linear path. Sometimes it takes years of setbacks and reinvention before momentum truly builds. Winning the Women's Royal Rumble, Morgan earned the right to choose her opponent for WrestleMania 42. In a strategic move, she selected Stephanie Vaquer, the reigning Women's World Champion on the Raw brand. The decision signals confidence. Rather than chasing familiarity or avoiding risk, Morgan opted for a direct challenge within her own brand. Facing Vaquer promises a clash of styles, Morgan's emotional intensity and resilience against Vaquer's technical precision and international acclaim. The choice also reflects Morgan's mindset at this stage of her career. She is no longer content with simply participating in major events. She intends to define them. WrestleMania represents the pinnacle of WWE's calendar, and main eventing or capturing gold that can cement a superstar's place in history. Morgan understands that stakes of that magnitude require bold decisions. Looking back, the arc from Riott Squad member to Royal Rumble winner illustrates remarkable progression. Early in her tenure, she was often viewed as the sympathetic underdog. Today, she commands arenas with confidence. Fans rally behind her not only because of her in-ring ability, but because they have witnessed her perseverance. They have seen the losses, the doubts, and the gradual ascent. What sets Morgan apart is the authenticity she brings to her journey. When she speaks about her achievements, there is a sense of genuine gratitude. She does not treat accolades as entitlement. Instead, she frames them as blessings earned through sacrifice. That humility resonates in an industry sometimes defined by bravado. As WrestleMania 42 approaches, anticipation continues to build around her showdown with Stephanie Vaquer. The narrative is rich with possibility. Can Morgan capture another championship on the grandest stage? Can she continue her late career surge and further solidify her legacy? Regardless of the outcome, her trajectory has already secured her place among the most influential women of her era. More than a decade after signing her WWE contract, Liv Morgan stands as proof that persistence can rewrite destiny. She may always be associated with the Riott Squad, but her individual accomplishments now define her narrative. Money in the Bank triumph, championship glory against Ronda Rousey, a seismic SummerSlam victory over Rhea Ripley, Royal Rumble dominance in Riyadh. Each chapter builds upon the last. Her story is far from finished. In fact, it feels like it is entering its most compelling act. With momentum on her side and the world watching, Liv Morgan heads toward WrestleMania 42 not as a hopeful challenger, but as a fully realized superstar prepared to shape her own destiny once again.